Hi friends, in our last session, we have started with design criteria for slide phase. In that, we have determined the forces which would be acting in case of a combination of V and flat slide phase. Now, in today's session, we are going to determine the forces which would be acting in case of a combination of two flat slide phases. This is Faizan Kagbi. I welcome you all to a lecture series of machine tool design. So let's begin with our topic. So that is force acting on a matting surface in combination of two flat slides. Now from the last session, you are clear with the diagram, right? Most of the forces which are acting you all know in case of flat and V slideways, which we have discussed. So similarly, that would be the forces acting in case of a two flat slideways. So the schematic diagram of the slideways and the forces acting on the system are shown in this figure, that is 4.11, and for a case of oblique cutting. Now the forces which are acting, you can see it is written weight of carriage, that is capital G, in a downward direction. Second is a cutting force component, that is in case of an axial direction Px, second in a radial direction Py, and a direction of velocity vector, that is cutting speed, that is Pz. So you can see this force Py in a radial direction, that is perpendicular to the axis of the workpiece, and one is a force along the axis of a workpiece, that is in a direction of feed. Okay, you can clearly see this is our cutting tool. So if you visualize, this cutting tool is going to move in this direction, right? So this is our direction of what? That is our feed direction. Okay, that is along the axis of the machine tool. Now other force is a pulling force, that is Q, which is unknown. So in this case we are going to determine that pulling force, you can see from this side view. Okay, on a machine tool structure. And fourth one is a normal force A, B and C on acting on a matting surface, which are unknown. We need to determine the equation for that. And over here in addition, there is a fifth, that is frictional force. So we know that by equation of friction, that F is equal to mu n, right? Where F was what? Frictional force. Mu was coefficient of friction, right? And N was normal force. So in this case, in our derivation, we are going to consider that frictional force is equal to mu n. In place of mu n, over here we have used small f. That is, small f is a coefficient of friction and A is a normal force, as we know. Okay, there is a force acting on a surface of a slide wave. So first frictional force is F into A. Second frictional force is F into B. Third is F into C, where F is our coefficient of friction between the sliding surface. Now if you see the diagram carefully, so you can clearly see there are two flat slideways. So for one is a one rail on this side and second rail on this side. So in on each rail there are two flat slideways. So you can see entire flat surface is there. So this represents the first and this represents the second flat slideway. So combination of two flat slideway over here. Okay. Now the normal force which is acting on this surface is capital C. Similarly, on a second rail on this other side, you can see again there are two flat slideways. Now the normal force which would be acting is capital A, you can see in a upward direction. But there is also normal force which is acting in a horizontal direction. So you can see on this side, that is represented by capital B. Now in this case again we need to determine these three forces A, B and C. Now A dash is a distance between a slideway, that is two slideways on one side, that is on a one rail. Similarly C dash is a distance, that is our total width, we can say, of the other we would say combination of slideway. Okay, so this is the first combination of two flat slideways, this is the second combination of two flat slideway, and each combination represents the rail. Okay, you know the two rails were there on a lathe bed. So this is over here it is written 1 and over here it is written 2. Now this entire, you can see arrangement, you can see over here, which is hanging on this slideway is called a carriage. Now this carriage is acting, the weight of a carriage acting in a downward side would be capital G. Okay. The orthogonal cutting, because of that the forces would be Py and a forces in a velocity vector direction is Pz in a downward side. Okay. Now next, B is a distance between that is we can say a center distance between the two slideways. Okay, combination of two slideways. So you can see over here B is written, and the pulling force which we know that capital Q which we need to determine. So over here you can see the distance for that is ZQ. Okay. Now when you see this entire arrangement from a side view, okay, from this side if you see, so it's going to look in this way. Okay, so this is a side view, so this entire square is a workpiece. Okay, this represents a workpiece. Now this px again we can say is a force acting along the axis as we have discussed, and pz is a force in a cutting force direction. So you can see this downward force is our pz. Okay, this represents the x-axis. Okay, and this Fa is called our frictional. Fa is called a frictional force, and Q is a pulling force which is acting in this horizontal direction on a left side. Okay, okay. Now let us start with the derivation. So the unknown forces, that is A, B, C, and over here in addition is that Q, that is a pulling force, can be determined from the equilibrium equation condition. So when we resolve the component of forces along x-axis, so summation x is equal to 0 in a similar way which we have seen in our last session. So it will become px plus fa plus fb plus fc minus q is equal to 0. So obviously that when we resolve the forces along x-axis, you can clearly see the forces which are available is px in a horizontal, that is x direction, right? Similarly frictional force fa you can see acting in the same, that is opposite direction of px force, right? Then fb would be there and fc would be there, that is for a force that is normal force b and normal force c. Okay, along with that the force pulling force q is also in a left direction acting. So the equation is going to become px plus fa into px plus fa plus fb plus fc and minus q, which would be equal to 0. So you can see over here. Similarly sigma y is equal to 0. So in a y direction there are two forces. So that is normal force b acting in a horizontal direction, and Py is a force which is acting on the other side, that is opposite to force B. So the equation will become B minus Py is equal to 0. We can see from a diagram, that is our this diagram. So you can see in this diagram B is a force, normal force on this surface of a slideway in this direction, whereas Py is a force in opposite right direction. Right, that is our radial force, cutting force. So our equation is B minus Py equals to 0. Similarly, the forces which are acting in a z direction, sigma z is equal to 0, that is in a vertical direction. We can say what are the forces. So A plus C minus Pz plus G minus G plus G, A plus C minus Pz minus G is equal to 0. So over here it is minus. Okay, so you can clearly see from this diagram, as you can see this is z axis. So the forces which are acting is A over here plus C over here, you can see the normal force in upward direction, minus Pz in a downward direction, minus G in, again in a downward direction. It is the weight of a carriage. So these are our how equation form, how this is how our equation is formed. Now we need to find out moment about x-axis. So sigma mx is equal to 0. Equation will become Pz into yb plus G into b by 2. We know that moment is equal to force into perpendicular distance, right? So G into b by 2 minus Cb minus Py into H is equal to 0. So let's say this is our equation number 4.17. Now from equation 4.15, we can clearly find out that B is equal to Py. Right, this is very clear, B is equal to Py. So this is our first equation. Now from equation 4.17, we can make C as a subject. Right, from this equation, equation 4.17, we can make C as a subject. So the equation will become C is equal to Pz into Yp minus Py into H upon B plus G by 2. Okay, so you can clearly see that we have taken B by 2 common out. Okay, so entirely in other equations in which B is not present, so it would be divided by that. Now next we need to substitute the value of C in our equation 4.16. So what we are going to get? So we are going to get a value of A, that is normal force A acting on a slide base. So A is equal to Pz plus G by 2 minus Pz into Yp minus Py into H upon B. Now let's say this is our equation 4.20. Next, we need to determine pulling force. So pulling force Q is determined from our equation 4.14. So this is our equation. You can see that is summation of all the forces along x-axis, that is along the x direction. So this is our equation. In this equation we can substitute all the values of normal forces A, B and C, which we have found out over here. You can see A, B and C. So after substituting that, we can determine the pulling force capital Q. So it is going to become Q is equal to Px plus F into Pz plus Py plus G and bracket close. So this is our final equation of pulling force, that is our equation 4.21. So this is how we have determined the normal forces, which are A, B and C, along with that pulling force, that is Q. Okay, now let us see further. Now we need to see power screws. So basics of power screws, and you have an overview of a power screw. Okay, so power screw or a translation screws are utilize the helical translatory motion of a screw thread for transmitting power and motion rather than for clamping parts. Okay, so as we know that for a lifting jack, right, for lifting a car, we are going to rotate the handle and it is going to move the screw, and the car would be lifted up, right? That is converting a rotary motion into a translatory motion in a vertical direction. So we are going to utilize a helical translatory motion of a screw thread for transmitting mechanical power rather than clamping parts. Power screws, we know that it is widely used in machine tools for imparting motion to operative member due to their following distinguishing features. So what are the features of the power screw for which we are going to use it? So first is large reduction, which makes it possible to obtain a slow travel of the operative member or operative element in a feed train. Similarly, second is simple design and compactness we can obtain by using power screws. Third is high load carrying capacity. So it is going to occupy the load. As we know that for lifting the car, entire load is occupied, or we can say is sustained by power screw. And fourth, uniform and accurate movement of the operative member can be obtained by making use of our power screw. Now, what are the major classifications of the power screw? So it is mainly classified into two major groups. First is sliding friction power screw, and second one would be rolling friction power screw. So the most of the questions are not asked from this power screw, but we need to have an overview of what is power screw and what are the functions and features which power screw is going to provide. Okay guys, so in today's session we are going to keep up till here. Thank you all.